In this video, I'm doing a comparison between an authentic Thai Old Face Violet Teddy and a counterfeit one. The authentic Teddy is on the right, and some of the things that you notice right away are the facial features of these two. The counterfeit one has more of a flatter face on the front, whereas the authentic, the face is more protruding. So if I turn them sideways, you can see that the authentic Teddy is more of a European old face Teddy type versus this counterfeit, which is a lot flatter, more of a smushy looking face. The other thing that you notice right away is the way the V comes down in the middle of the forehead. The authentic is a lot thinner, and it comes to like a smaller, comes to a point where it has a smaller nose. The counterfeit one, since it's so smashed out, the V is a lot wider and making the eyes look wider. Plus the counterfeit is more round on the cheeks here. Another thing would be the fabric. The fabric is very close, a counterfeit is very close, but when you look at them up close and you feel them, you can feel the difference. On the authentic Thai Teddy, the fabric is very smooth. When you go back and forth on it, it's very luxurious. On the counterfeit one, when you go back and forth, you can see how rough the nap is when you go back. Now when I look at the tags, the inside of the authentic, this is a Korean one. The font is pretty much typical of all second gens. When I look at the counterfeit tag, there's some blaring things right away. The font and the spacing is off, but you can notice that there's the dye that has bled through the holes, and you can see that on the tag, as well as some of the font punctuation on the left side where it says capital LTD. That's very prevalent of a counterfeit tag. The original tags do not have those in all uppercase. It's usually with a capital L, a small t, and a small d. The back side of the tags are very similar, but there is some slight font variations, just the thickness of the font. The other thing that I take a look at is the Tush Tag. This is a Korean Tush Tag, which is just like the China Tush Tag. All Old Face Teddies came with a black and white 1993 copyright Tush Tag. One thing that I noticed right off on the real ones, the word handmade. There's a little bit of a space between the word hand and made. When you compare that to the counterfeit, the word is all together. There's not even a little bit of a space in between here. Plus the spacing of this, the lettering up and down is a little bit wider and spread out than the original. So just to recap on the counterfeits, some of the features that you see right away are just the facial features, whereas the authentic comes more to a point. It's more protruding of a face. The V is a little bit thinner. The nose is smaller. The counterfeit has a more flat face. The V is wider. Big thing on the back, the authentic has a V to the back of the head. The counterfeit has a straight line. Some of the things to look for on the inside of the fake tag are the fonts, to see if the dye is bleeding through, to see if this is all caps. There are several different second gen tags, but if you understand what you're looking for font and punctuation, some of that carries through on the other tags as well. The other thing with the Tush tags on these Old Face Teddies, they are a black and white first generation with a 1993 copyright date. And then pay attention to some of the punctuation on the Tush tags versus fake versus the real, and sometimes they're very blaring.